Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We had a wildly fun NXT last night, which we're going to get to in a second. But first, Larson, you got a little bit of news for us. What's in said news?
So let's go back to yesterday. Let's rewind to yesterday. Like when I rewound this Forrest Gump VHS before I popped it out of the VCR. Be kind. Rewind. So yesterday, Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast tweeted the following, quote, "Hearing about a lot of exciting stuff on the WB side of pro wrestling. Too early to post anything, but honestly, I'm very hopeful we will see a quality turnaround by the end of the year. I hate being vague. I generally don't post things like this, but I'm very hopeful right now." So yes, light on specifics, high on optimism there from Andrew Zarian. WrestlingNews.co followed up with their sources, who told the site that, quote, "Vince McMahon is definitely aware that the product is stale, and the feeling among people in management has been that the good stuff in regards to creative is being saved for live crowds." So assuming there is some measure of accuracy to WrestlingNews.co's report here in their sources. Let's make that assumption first and foremost.
Okay.
For the sake of discussion here, sake of speculation. Like I could see why they want to save some. They want to have some stuff in their back pocket when they go back on the road, because hey, fans, you waited out a year plus to get shows back in front of you. Here's some good stuff at the same time, especially on the Raw side. And week in and week out is just by and large just absolute crap, just drivel. How many fans are really going to show up to these live events after sitting, putting up with about a year worth of crap creative? Or some people just might have stopped watching. Like I think to a certain degree, you're shooting yourself in the foot by not giving fans something of interest before going back on the road, because you're not generating a lot of excitement for that return. You're just relying on the fact that people will be excited to go to live events. Meltzer tweeted out about how ticket sales for all these 25 WWE shows by and large are not great. So, if you're not raising levels of excitement for your fan base, you're not motivating them to spend money on your product. And if you just say, well, let's wait till fans come back and then we'll do good stuff. Give us some good stuff now, and then keep a little bit in your back pocket. Otherwise, what's the motivation for me to spend money on your company when you're not giving me what I want?
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. But I could see it from, Vince McMahon. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he's seen how quickly things can change, how quickly if you give dude, look, you want me to justify why they would intentionally put on underwhelming product? I can't. That being said, if he's thinking to himself, well, I'd rather save a Becky Lynch return for fans. I'd rather save, some big storyline angles for fans, because he understands that, especially, if there's one thing that he might understand in today's landscape of entertainment, it's that fortunes can change quickly. If Raw's creative, if Raw puts together 3 killer must-see shows back to back, it's going to have good buzz. Like people's memories are really short. It just takes some good social media buzz. It's like, holy crap, look at this cool thing that's happened. Look at this buzzy thing that's happening.
Your fortunes feel like can this change. Kind of attitude takes your audience, what's left of it, for granted. It's like, well, they'll stick around and they'll show up, and then maybe we'll, by the time we have shows in front of fans, we'll give them something good then. But for those of us who, whether because we want to or we need to because it's our job, have sat through some fallow creative periods, give us a little bit of something.
Well, look, I know you say that Raw has been dribbled, but if you watch our reviews from the past 2 weeks, there are bright spots to it. There's some good stuff there. It's, by and large, it's 3 hours that aren't terribly compelling, but there's bright spots in there. It's not all terrible. But the Arcade Bro stuff is fun right now. MVP talking to Kofi Kingston for about 5 minutes is pretty cool, and that's pretty much it. But
that's virtually it.
But there's a couple of good things. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I see your point, but at the same time, if I'm a promoter and I've got Becky Lynch in my back pocket.
No, I mean, like the returns like Becky and Johnson, I understand want to do that for the crowds because the reaction to the return is a major part of the whole deal.
You know what it feels
and
like
I'm
right
kind of
now?
not necessarily talking about returns like that. I'm talking about actually maybe they have on the back burner, man, they got some great like Shakespearean stories they're waiting to put out there.
Man, get out of here with that. They don't have no Shakespearean stories.
Let me finish. Like maybe they got, gosh, man, it's like it's like Peabody Award-winning stuff. They got this sitting on. They're going to win Emmys for this shit.
We have 16 WWE Raw scripts written by Aaron Sorkin and Werner Herzog in their collaboration.
Something like that.
And it's
but we're not
brilliant.
going to do it until we get back on the road. You know, I just feel like from a creative standpoint, you can use the pieces you have now and tell compelling stories. And I don't think you need to go back on the road to do that.
Yeah.
I think compelling because you know that for a TV audience, yeah, like the experience is better with a crowd there. At the same time, if you're telling compelling stories, I can look past the fact there's no crowds there. I can personally, but if the stories aren't compelling, well, guess what? It's going to make for lackluster TV.
I don't know what they have in mind. I find it difficult to believe that they're telling bad stories now because they have good stories to tell later on. I just don't think they're going to have good stories to tell. And this is all just a bunch of like, it's going to be a bunch of fluff, dude. That's what it is. It's like,
oh yeah, it's going to be a bunch of stuff to try to pop ratings short term. There's no long-term planning, of course not.
But at the same time, I also kind of understand that right now, especially on the Raw side of things, you know, I feel like they're sort of resetting the women's division by getting the title back on Charlotte, probably at Hell in a Cell. They're going to be done with the Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre thing, you know, at Hell in a Cell. And then after that, we're pretty close to fans. So maybe it's just a matter of, hey, we're wrapping stuff up right now. We don't really want to start any big new things, even though, I mean, look, I imagine they probably feel like Eva Marie's return is a big new thing. And they did that in Thunderdome. So I feel like they are probably giving us a little bit of what they have, and they're saving maybe some debuts, some call-ups, some big returns. You know, if you're going to do stuff like that, call-ups and returns, you're going to want a crowd for it. At the end of the day, you're right, though. 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, if your stories continue not to be compelling, it's all going to be for nothing. Like call-ups, the honeymoon on a call-up these days is literally a week. And sometimes not even that if you botch the actual debut. So yeah, we'll see. It's probably, I have had the thought, though, that Vince, you know, just looking at Raw, it's like, okay, he's spinning wheels because he's just waiting for fans, you know? That seems kind of obvious lately, but we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe they have some cool long-term stories that they want to kick off once fans are back, and it'll be cool. I'm not optimistic, but hey, I'll stay tuned because guess what? We totally get paid to do that.
Yeah, kind of have to.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't have to watch NXT, you probably still would, especially with Samoa Joe coming back. All the rumors, all the reports were true.
Yeah, dude.
Samoa Joe is back in NXT as William Regal's enforcer. I thought the opening segment was great. I thought the expression on Karrion Kross's face, he just about crapped his pants when Samoa Joe's music hits. That was great.
Yeah.
Kross did a hell of a job selling the magnitude of Joe's arrival in NXT.
Yeah, he did.
He really did.
He did.
He just about filled up his pants.
Hey, and it was great. He needs to start going to business for himself, man. You can't have all these people disrespecting you so much, Kross, if you're going to be a champion. I feel like they're just crapping on this guy. It's hilarious.
Well, it's time for him to step up then, ain't it?
I know, right? Come on, man. Let's see what you got, Kross. No more stumbling around. I thought last night's episode of NXT really felt more like, I don't know, an NXT after WrestleMania or something. Like I thought it was pretty stellar. And, you know, there was a couple things teased. Next week we're getting Diamond Mine. There's this battery thing, which is totally Tegan Nox.
Why do you think it's Tegan Nox? Is she close to being cleared? Because she blew at her knee, remember?
If you look at the battery, it looks like it's going to spell NOX. Like it looks like the beginning parts of an N, and it's big enough for like a NOX. That's pure speculation, but I kind of feel like that's going to be the thing. She's probably cleared at this point. But no, Joe's the right man. I watched this one live, just because I wanted to see Joe's arrival because it seemed pretty obvious that it was going to happen, and it exceeded expectations. God dang it, Joe is so good. And
he's the best.
I was laughing and cheering out loud when he choked out Adam Cole. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful return for Samoa Joe. I'm happy it's in NXT. There's history there. Hopefully, as a fan of Samoa Joe's, there is maybe there's a hope that he could be cleared at some point in the future. If he's not, that's fine. You obviously want to put his health first, but if it's possible, if it is a goal of his to get cleared, all sorts of great matchups there in NXT. Obviously, like him versus Cross would be something that I think everybody would like to see down the line. But even if he doesn't, even if he's the enforcer for like a year or whatever, this could be tons of fun. This first episode of that was pretty stellar. NXT just had like a vibe to it last night. It had like an extra pep in its step, even down to that main event, the Tornado Tag match. We had Ted DiBiase at 67 years old take a bump like a champ.
Yeah.
I watched that twice. He went down. I was impressed at 67 years old. Like, I had read that he had been doing some physical stuff, like sort of doing the circuit. But I thought that was mainly just him putting people in the $1 Million Dream in the hold. But I didn't know he was out there taking bumps.
Yeah,
that was rad.
Maybe he's not, and it was just, deemed it necessary for this particular story beat.
That
which
could
kind of was.
be, but it was great. It was awesome. I thought LA Knight was terrific. I thought there was a lot to like about last night's show. And really, we didn't even have like everybody on deck. Like, there was no hit row last night. We had a debut of Trey Baxter, aka Late Christian. And that was a wildly fun match. And then we got a couple announcements for Great American Bash. So yeah, I thought NXT was really good last night.
It was a fun show. Before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show. Sunday, typically this time of year, I'm looking out my window right here. I have a window right here. It looks out to my backyard.
Yeah.
And I look through this window at my backyard. All I see is just an absolute mess.
Disgusting.
Just a huge mess.
Horrible.
Huge brown spots, patches of weeds. There's more weeds than grass out there.
You're terrible. But I'll be honest with you, mine was a mess too. But then I said to myself, Steve, it's time to get serious about your lawn care. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. And that's why, Steve, I've turned to Sunday. You see, Sunday makes taking care of your lawn easier than ever. They take out all the guesswork and all the unwanted chemicals so you can grow a lush green lawn that's better for people, pets, and the planet.
And all you got to do is go to getsunday.com, put in your home address, and their free lawn analysis tool creates a tailored nutrient plan based on soil and climate data. So you get all the stuff your lawn needs and nothing it doesn't.
Plus, Sunday explains exactly what you need and why you need it, which makes lawn care easy for people like me who struggle to keep their lawn looking green. All I had to do was attach the ready-to-use pouch to my hose and spray. Now, instead of taking all day to care for my lawn, I can get it done in less than 15 minutes.
So let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/GIR to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout.
That's $20 off your custom plan at getsunday.com/GIR.
Kicked off with William Regal walking down the rings, talking about how he's with NXT from the beginning, started out doing commentary, got a call the first takeover. That's when he first starts getting really emotional. He's crying and stuff. Talks about watching NXT transform, traveling around the world, having all these special moments like going to NXT event in Blackpool and getting to watch the show with his nieces. Says he spent basically every moment, all his free time away from his family, thinking about how to make NXT better, how he and H, as he said, wanted to how he wanted to be for every competitor, every announcer, most of all for every fan who took them around the country. He finally decided that with all the chaos that's going on, he's given all that he can, and because of all the fans, wrestlers, and staff, he doesn't think he's capable of giving us what we deserve anymore. He thinks it's time for him to, and then he's interrupted by Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and they walk into the ring.
Yeah, so they come down to the ring, and he's got a big shit-eating grin on his face, and he says, me and Scarlett both knew this day would come. You're truly pathetic. 1 week ago, I told you lost control of this roster, and you knew it was true. I saw it in your eyes, and at TakeOver, when I punched a hole through the Mount Rushmore of NXT, you knew I could control this place through chaos and violence, and I want you to say it. I want you to say you're leaving, to walk up that aisle and never come back. Say that Cross was right. Say Cross conquers all. He says, we ain't got all night. TikTok.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Cross shits his pants.
Yep.
Joe comes down. He says, Mr. Regal, I believe you wanted to speak with me. And Regal says, I did, Joe, but not in these circumstances. I was hoping for later. But you're here now. Because of my love for NXT, I think everybody deserves a GM that can hold the position with integrity that it deserves. I would like you to be the new GM of NXT. I'm no longer able to keep this up, Joe. And he says, hold on a second, Regal, please. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely not. He says, I know you're wary and it's worn on you. In the 7 years you've been here, you've scoured the planet, brought the best talent together, including me. You've plucked NXT from obscurity and made it an international phenomenon. He said, to be honest, you have large shoes to fill, so I can't accept, but I will make you this counteroffer. I know I made your life hell while I was here, but I always afforded you respect. With your permission, I'll make sure you receive the respect you deserve from everybody. And Regal says,
right across his face.
Yeah.
It's like maybe a foot away from Cross.
Yeah. And he says, if that's something I'm willing to do, number one, you can't be a competitor here. And number two, you cannot lay a hand on anyone. And then he looks at Cross, Regal does, and he says, and because Cross is smiling, and he says, unless provoked. And then Cross's smile just disappears. And Joe says, Mr. Regal, I accept your offer, which leaves one more question to be answered, which is, and he steps up to Cross right in his face and says,
they're basically nose to nose.
What are you still doing in this ring? Tick-tock, young champion. And then Cross leaves and has to go clean his pants out.
Yeah, he'll change his undies.
It was great. It was awesome.
It was great. Well, you keep on going. This Grizzled Young Veteran to promo, Steve. Just go ahead.
All right.
That was next.
Yeah. Gibson says.
You be Gibson. I can be Drake. Drake only said one sentence.
Ciampa and Thatcher, we heard what you said at TakeOver. We felt the disrespect, but we are from Liverpool, the working class areas of London. Of Liverpool. We're used to people looking down their nose at us, dragging our names in the dirt.
The Drake just says, tonight there are no rules and no excuses.
You're going to find out while he was doing the thing where they're like whisper talking, kind of. They had to be quiet because somebody's sleeping in the next room. He says, you're going to find out while we're grizzled young veterans. You're going to get your head kicked in.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
First match
I
tonight,
could do
Imperium.
Gibson just fine, Luke Owen. Mike Gibson's great.
Wow. Next, we had Imperium versus Breezango. Walter's not going to be happy. Imperium's dominating early. Tyler Breeze, I don't think got any offense off in this match. No, he got annihilated throughout. Marcel Bartel looks like he's lost 10 pounds.
He looks shredded. How did that happen overnight? I mean, it's been a spell, but oh my God, I'm glad you noticed that because I was like, who's that dude? And he's like,
I know. He's jacked. He's shredded.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's been putting in some work in the gym.
I guess so.
Anyways, so Fandango was trying his best to keep Breezango in the match. Tyler Breeze is not having any luck whatsoever. Eventually, though, Breeze gets tagged in. He immediately gets dropped by Eichner with the clothesline. And then Breeze rolls him up to get the win. And so immediately Tyler Breeze is trying to get out of the ring, crawl out. Eichner pulls him back in. Imperium just destroys both him and Fandango. They hit Breeze with their finish and then get an Imperium banner and place it over Tyler Breeze.
Yeah. After that, we had... Oh, this is fantastic. I'm trying to catch everything that Regal said, and I think I got it. But so backstage, Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are brawling. And I believe Regal said something about an unsanctioned match, but I thought that
was their last match.
Okay. Match. So at the Great American Bash, the only reason I really caught this is because I saw an ad for it
later. Yeah.
At the Great American Bash, we're going to you guys get each other one-on-one in a straight-up match.
Yeah.
Next week, though, they each get to pick their opponent.
Yeah.
And Cole's like, what, are you kidding me? Like, I want to go at this guy right now. I don't want to do that. And so he goes after O'Reilly. Joe tries to break it up, and Cole shoves Joe on the way to getting to Kyle O'Reilly. And so Joe's like, okay, that was provoked. He takes his jacket off. He goes over there, grabs Cole, chokes him out. He passes out, and he says, when he wakes up, tell him Regal wants his answer as to who his opponent's going to be. We find out later on who Kyle O'Reilly's opponent's going to be.
Then we got that phone charging vignette mentioned at the top of the show. I guess it could be Tegan Knox. I could see how that would be a potential logo in the phone. I just looked at the thing again. Then we get Santos Escobar promo. He tells Braun to read what happened at TakeOver was a tragedy. He had the North American title in his hands. He could see his reflection in it, and it was the most beautiful thing he'd see in his life. But Reed had to do it again. Not only did they have to squish him, he had to put him through the wall. No one does that to Santos Escobar. But in doing so, Reed revealed the weakness, because that's the only thing Reed could have done to put him down. Says, I'm coming for you, one-on-one, and I'm going to drop you again with the Phantom Driver. And what was once the vision will become a reality. He'll be the next North American champion.
Yeah. Then we had, in advance of Trey Baxter's debut match against Kushida for the Open Challenge. I like that they're debuting a bunch of cruiserweights this way. It's kind of cool. And then, so they had this little video package where he introduces himself. It's kind of generic stuff, but, he talks about himself a little bit. And then they had Trey Baxter's debut match against Kushida. A lot of fun stuff. Really great showcase for Trey Baxter. In the end, though, he ends up getting tapped out to the hoverboard lock.
Yep. But really about halfway through the match, Kyle O'Reilly comes in. Watches the match from the stage. Conclusion of the match, after Baxter and Kushida shake hands, Kyle O'Reilly gets in the ring, steps up to Kushida, and this is one of those deals where they have to talk loud enough for the camera to pick up the audio because they don't have mics. And Kyle says, I'm not here to accept the challenge, but to issue one.
Okay.
They both want to fight. You want to fight the best. I want to fight the best.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You and me next week.
Okay. I can hear you just fine. Why are we yelling right now? I'm
the
cool
camera
with
can
that.
pick up, so we don't have to use microphones.
Don't people understand that like body language is good enough? Like we could just talk normal.
No, we got to spell it out for them.
People still all understand us. Why are you in the cruiserweight scene? You were just fighting for the title.
No, I'm not trying to get cruiserweight title. I said I'm not accepting your challenge. I'm issuing one. I just want to fight you because you're good.
What challenge is? I'm the cruiserweight champion, though. Don't you want this?
No, I don't care about that.
No, I don't care about that. After that, we had a Frankie Monet interview. She announced next week will be the encore performance of her world premiere, which is a great way of just calling it another match. Yeah. Then she sees the Jessie Kamea and Aaliyah from Robert Stone brand, but no Robert Stone yet. She goes over there, says, man, I think you had your match at TakeOver in the pre-show one until Robert Stone got involved. And Robert Stone comes wandering in. She's like, oh, hi, Rob. I was just telling them that they had it won. They should have listened to you. So they're all like basically clowning him behind his back, which is kind of messed up. He's got a great head of hair on him, that Robert Stone.
He does. He has a fantastic head of hair. Wish I had hair that good.
Right? Everybody should want hair that good.
Yeah, I know. Next, we had a Mercedes Martinez promo. She talks about feeling the wrath of TN Shaw at TakeOver, but she says she's the wrong person to mess with. She's not going anywhere. She calls out Boa, says he'll feel the steel again, tells Xia Li they're 1-1. She says next time Mei Ying won't have time to get out of her chair because Mercedes is going to knock her out of it.
Yeah. After that, we had, this was so great. It was the $1 Million Championship Coronation. And so DiBiase comes out first. He says, this past Sunday, we found the man who can carry the legacy of the $1 Million Man. Let's look at him. And so they get like a really cool LA Knight package that runs. It shows LA Knight driving up out in the parking lot, up in his fancy car. Was that a Ferrari?
No, it was just a Corvette.
Was that a Corvette? All right.
Yeah.
He comes out. He cuts this great, super baby face, very sincere promo. It's in a shoot voice. He starts saying, oh, let me tell you. You know what? Actually, Ted, hold on a second. Okay, hold on, everybody. Wait a second. I want to talk to you, Ted. Or may I call you Theodore?
Yeah.
He says, you know, it's rare you get to meet your hero. Yeah. Or share the ring with him. But to make it to that place where your hero says you could be the guy to carry on my legacy, I don't know how to feel right now. I feel like an incel. He's like, I'm all banged up. but it's 100% worth it. I loved Ted DiBiase as a kid. I had all your action figures. Yeah. I said, I used to watch wrestling with my dad, and this moment means everything to me. It's the biggest moment in my career, and I'd be honored if the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, put the title on me. Ted DiBiase really looks touched here. And he's like, all right. So they get the title, and he drapes it over his shoulder, because who knows if you could even wear this thing. He drapes it over his shoulder, and they have like some really cheesy pyro that goes off, and they both do their ha 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 laughing like in tandem. And then you know it's coming. You totally see it coming. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? He was like, now I have everything that I want. And now that I have everything I want, it's time to drop what I don't need. And then he fucking lays out Ted DiBiase, who just bumps like a champ. He wrecks the set, takes off his jacket, starts kicking the crap out of Ted DiBiase, and then Cameron Grimes runs down to make the save, lays out Knight, sends him running. He takes his title and runs away, and he goes, checks on DiBiase. And I'm looking there staring at DiBiase. I'm like, don't start clutching your chest, because that's terrifying if you do that. Like, I don't want to see that happen. But he was fine. Like, he was fine. So it was all good.
Yeah.
But,
that
was
good segment.
Man.
Good segment. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at me now. Yeah.
After that, we had Dakota Kai, Raquel interview. Raquel says Ember learned the hard way at TakeOver. Says Indy and Candice better hold on to those tag titles real tight, because they've got unfinished business with them. And Dakota Kai says tonight they take care of Kacy and Carter. Then it's on becoming two-time champions.
Two-time.
Before that match happens, though, we see Regal and Joe keeping Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez away from Shotzi and Ember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Just still sheer pandemonium going on backstage.
Yeah, but after that, we had that match, Kacy and Kayden versus Raquel and Dakota Kai. And yeah, I mean, this sort of plays out like normal. Kai sort of gets wrecked. They had some cooler like tandem moves where Raquel would like throw Kai into like a stomp on one of the opponents. But yeah, by and large, Dakota Kai was getting wrecked while Raquel just dominates everything, wrecking people on the outside. Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter had some more fun sort of creative offense that I hadn't seen before. That was really neat.
I thought this match, there was a little more parity in terms of Dakota Kai and Raquel's dominance levels.
Oh, you thought so?
Raquel,
was it earlier on? Because like I was sort of more paying attention towards the back.
Early on there was, but Raquel was several instances. It was only really till the end where she's like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to overpower everybody.
Yeah.
But there were several instances where Kacy and Kayden were doing some real fast double team moves where Raquel really had no answer for it.
Yeah, I really want to see. They need to elevate Kacy and Kayden up to the title scene at some point, because they're really
I'm really
fun.
surprised they haven't.
Yeah. So anyways, Kacy hits a 450 on Dakota Kai but Raquel pulls her off when she goes for the pin. Raquel just destroys both of them on the outside, but Kacy gets back up. Dakota Kai is able to recover at that point to hit the GTK and get the pin for the win.
We get quick Everrise video. They're watching on an iPad video of Hit Row messing up their house on the TakeOver pre-show. And then they say, does Hit Row think they could just lay out their house? And that's that? No, we're rebuilding. And they've rebuilt their house.
Yeah, they did a really terrible job doing that, too. I'm almost positive that's the exact same playhouse we got Bama. Like, really? I looked at the Hit Row bit, and I was like, that looks like the exact same thing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was great. It has a little doorbell and everything. She's played in it like once, dude. Like, we didn't buy it. Like, her grandma bought it. My mother-in-law bought it. And Lacey spent, because I'm sitting there trying to do it. She's like, here, let me do that. She enjoys putting that shit together. I really don't. And so I was like, okay, do whatever I want to do. And so, Bama played it, I think, that day. And then ever since then, it's just been sitting up there. I mean, it's been really hot outside and everything, but we have like a good, like, we even got like a little canopy thing over it. So it like cools down a little bit.
Well, if you want to feel any better, we too have a playhouse in our backyard. Barely gets used.
I know, that's like a legit, like your wife built that thing like it was the 1800s. It's very impressive work of carpentry there.
Yeah,
but
barely gets used.
But yeah.
So you're not alone.
I'm just glad we didn't get like the big, because we were thinking of getting like a big old play structure back there. It's like a $1,200 play structure, and I was like, she's not going to play in it. She's going to do it once, and that's it. Anyways, so after that we had a little promo again for Great American Bash. That's back July 7th. Then we had an Io Shirai promo. Says, I'm back. Talks a little bit more about being back. Candice interrupts. Says, now I'm no longer an uncrowned champion. Back of the line for you. You picked the wrong time to screw with me. Indy attacks Io from behind. Io is able to fend them off a little bit. Hits a 619 on Indy. Candice then grabs her before she's able to do more. Indy boots her to the floor. They start clearing off the table, and Candice tells Indy, hey, elbow drop. And before she's able to do that, she goes up top, but Zoe Stark comes out for the save and helps run them off. So evidently, sadly, it's not going to be Saray and Io Shirai, but Zoe Stark is a hell of an...
She's a really good wrestler.
Yeah,
she's a really good wrestler.
She just needs to update her gear. It's just so indie wrestler gear, but she's terrific.
I mean, it was kind of the same thing with Swerve for a while. He had like super
That's
indie
totally
gear,
true, yeah. Sometimes it takes a while.
Week by week, month after month, upgrade. Now his gear looks great. We got a raid here from Cultaholic.
What's up? Thank you, Cultaholic.
Thank you.
I think I saw it was good Sir Jack playing some football of some sort.
The pitch
manager, maybe it was like football manager or something.
Football
like
manager. That sounds right.
Does that sound right? That sound like a thing?
That sounds like a thing.
That's a thing,
I believe. So after the Io Shirai promo, this was an interesting bit. So Mackenzie Mitchell is trying to get an interview from Regal, and Joe is about to answer, and then there's a really awkward cut to Ciampa and Thatcher walking past MSK. MSK's eating some popcorn.
Well, it's funny because it was the dissolve. Like they're leaving, and then it like dissolves to like something. It's like, oh, what? Who's directing? This is like a
rare production error from NXT.
It's live TV. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. These things happen. So at first, Ciampa and Thatcher walk past. Thatcher comes back in, snatches popcorn out of the hands of Nash Carter, eats a handful, and walks off.
I was cracking up because I still think that Thatcher is the NXT version of you. And somebody on Twitter, forget who, said it said in reference to him eating popcorn, said this is funny because the only thing I've ever seen Thatcher eat is a bag of spinach. And I was like, oh, that reminds me of Larson from those skits.
I still have all my teeth though for now.
Yeah.
For now, we get a quick Diamond Mine vignette. It opens next week. Finally find out what that's all about.
So, I mean, is this going to be like just some cheesy school thing? I don't know. Like, it opens next week. It's like a gym. People are going to be going to this gym.
I don't know.
What's going on with this? I don't know what's going
Raw
on.
Underground all over again. Then we finally get that Regal and Joe interview. Now they're in Regal's office, I think. And Regal says, hey, the night started off. He's interrupted by John Gargano and Austin Theory. They're chanting Joe. So Johnny's going on about what a great idea it was to bring Joe in. He's exactly what NXT needs. This place was out of control. He says, I broke a pencil the other week, and Regal got so upset. But now that Joe is here, it's so good. Joe tells John to get out. John just says, okay, this is great. And he turns around and walks away.
Austin Theory still doing his Diesel impression.
The Diesel thing.
No, that was one night. That was a one-night deal, man. Come on.
That's great. And then Pete Dunne walks in, and he and Joe just have a stare down.
They just look at each other, trying to like a couple dogs start sniffing each other's buttholes.
Or standing there trying not to laugh while looking.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's just a whole parade of dream matches for Joe.
It really is.
It really is. I mean, God,
which I'm happy Joe's there in that role, but that's like the downside to it. It's like, and obviously Joe's health is first and foremost. We certainly don't want him to rush back to get in the ring just for our enjoyment.
Right?
Like we want Joe to be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
That's like the only downside I see this whole thing is like every time he has an interaction with anybody next, he's like, man, it'd be great to see them wrestle.
Yeah, isn't that's the knock anywhere though? Because it's not like his health would improve just by going to AEW. I mean, I know they've got what's his face there. That doctor will clear anything, but like, that's totally a joke. I'll never let that Matt Hardy thing go. I'll never let that thing go.
It should not have continued.
I'm sure he's fine, but yeah, I mean, I would imagine, I would simply just suspect that if it was a thing where he was like not WWE cleared, but he was other places cleared, he probably would go to other places. Maybe. But, he's also kind of old. It's like you don't want to mess with your health at that point. Nope. So I totally feel you, but that would be the thing anywhere,
Oh yeah. But now that he's in NXT and it's like he's going to be in our face every week.
It's like extra, right? Because it's like it does seem to be a lot more dream matchups there. I mean, I guess maybe it's that way everywhere. Like he goes to New Japan.
No, it
he's
would
got
be, but now that he's there, instead of some kind of nebulous idea of, wow, this would be like every encounter would be a dream match scenario. Now it's going to play out live on TV every week.
Right, yeah.
Instead of this being some idea, it's there manifest that we can see it.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's kind of like when Austin was, when he would do like the video game thing with CM Punk. It's like, why can't they just do that?
But now we're getting that every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We get our main event next, tornado tag match between Ciampa and Thatcher and Grizzled Young Veterans. Kind of bummed out Grizzled Young Veterans lost this.
Dude, I'm just, when I watched this, I was like, I just know that that's what they are. They're just going to be the guys that I love so much that are just never going to win. I mean, maybe. Okay, let's fast forward. Ciampa and Thatcher are going to challenge MSK. Who wins that match, Larson?
MSK.
Where does Thatcher and Ciampa go from there? Don't they have to win the titles at some point?
No, they fight each other again.
Here's what you do. Yes, Thatcher and Ciampa win the titles. And then MSK takes on Imperium for 6 months. Because they're like, hey, you guys are like a step above Breezango. You're just a comedy act. You don't need titles for that.
I kind of feel like MSK is not necessarily a comedy act.
I agree with that, but I could see Imperium. Their entire thing is the mat is sacred. Does MSK look like they take anything seriously? Not really.
I mean, when they're in the ring, they take their wrestling seriously. Once the match is over, then no, they don't take anything seriously.
Right, exactly. That's my point. They're not clowns to the.
So MSK enjoys are fun loving.
Right.
Love fun.
Yeah.
Imperium, they don't like fun.
They hate fun. They have no desire to have fun whatsoever. I've never seen any of those guys crack a smile.
You know what Imperium needs to do? They need to sit with a margarita and take in some tracks from the Easy Rock collection.
Is Margaritaville on there?
I don't know. I don't remember, but there's more than 100 tracks on here.
When you said Rupert Holmes was on there,
it's not the Pina Colada song.
It's not the Pina Colada song?
Oh, sorry. He has 2 tracks. One is Escape the Pina Colada song. My apologies.
What's the other one?
It's called Hymn.
Hymns? Forhymns.com?
No, Hymn.
If you like Pina Hymn. I don't know what that song is. I'd probably
Captain and Tennille on here.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Ooh, that's a good song.
How many songs
Kiss You All Over.
I wanna kiss you all over. That's a pretty intense song for easy listening. It's a very ambitious song. I want to kiss you all over.
It is very passionate. Margaritaville's on here. I don't see it.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Jorge says MSK takes weed seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the mat.
I don't see Margaritaville here offhand. Which is fine by me because I'm tired of that song.
Maggie says I'm going to get a lot of hate comments on YouTube for my AEW comment about what's the name? Doc Samson?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
The theme from Greatest American Heroes on here.
That's the greatest TV theme song of all time. I know it's fashionable to say it's Golden Girls, but it's the Greatest American Hero. Oh. This is a good match. So did we talk about this match?
No, we just talked about who won. I'm busy looking over at these tracks. Go ahead and get started.
The finish saw Ciampa drop Gibson on the commentary table, but not through the commentary table, with an air raid crash. And then both Ciampa and Thatcher make James Drake tap out as they lock in various submissions on him. And then after this match, we got Regal and Joe finally leaving. They were leaving at first, and then they were like, "Oh crap, we've got this match." And then they got an interview, and they're like, "What's her face, Mackenzie
Mitchell, yeah."
Says, "So what do you think about night 1 of Samoa Joe's Enforcer night thing?" And Regal says, "I think things are going to be very different around here." And Joe says, night one of many. And then they drive off together in a like a SUV.
The SUV is some sort. Yeah, they're friends.
They're friends now. They're gonna go. What do you think they did afterwards? A steak meal, a beer? What do you think they did?
Yeah, steak meal sounds right.
You're gonna have a steak meal. Who's in Orlando? Becky isn't Rebecca in Orlando?
I believe in the area. Yeah.
Where? What steak meal are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go?
Yeah, is there a place that's close to CWC they can go enjoy a steak meal?
And then that miserable crowd there at the CWC, they all have to get on buses apparently. I was getting the lowdown from Bex on that one too, because she's been there. And apparently like that crowd, it might be sort of a lame crowd because they have to go through a lot to get there. There's no parking there, so they have them like take shuttles in or something like that. But then Karen told me that it was like really cold in the CWC, which I thought would be awesome. Like I prefer cold because you got all those bodies stacked next to each other.
Yeah.
Mayor Pete says they're sharing a bloomin' onion at Outback. A bloomin' onion.
Haven't had a bloomin' onion in a long time.
Oh man.
We got a sub here from the Mayor Pete. 13 months. Thank you, Mayor Pete.
Thank you, Mayor Pete.
And then Maggie gifted a sub to Peaceful Boy 17. Thank you so much,
nice.
Maggie.
That's so nice. Bunch of nice people.
Organ Grinder's got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think the promotions will crank it to 11 in terms of making fans mark out once crowds are back? Is it possible they have had big surprises they've been saving all through pandemic?
Well, yeah.
Possible.
That's what we talked about during the news brief portion of this, is that they're going to have big things happen. Name one big thing that's unexpected. So we kind of expect the return of Cena, Becky, maybe
Even
Brock.
Even Brock at this point. If Brock came back, I wouldn't be surprised.
Give me one that's not expected.
Sid returning. It'd be unexpected, right?
How about this? Sid shows up in NXT. He's like, hey, Cross, you're a big man like me. But I also noticed that last week you shit your pants when you heard Samoa Joe's music.
I've done that before.
Listen, young fella, I shit my pants too.
In the main event of WrestleMania
with the Undertaker.
And I had a good career after that. You too could have a good career.
Just
shitting your pants on camera is not the end. The CM Punk kid left the turd in the middle of the ring.
The ref touched it. Just whatever you do, don't come off the second rope on one leg, because then that leg is going to disappear.
Nick Kyle, who would win in a race between LA Knight's Corvette, Baron Corbin's yellow Ferrari, and which racetrack would you sell this? It'd be a straightaway. It'd be one of the GTA tracks, straightaway.
Oh, I can't wait till Friday. I'm looking forward to that new straightaway. That's going to be so much fun. Let's see here. Anthony R., do you see Triple H possibly fixing and cleaning up some of the main roster messes in regards to his NXT talent either being released or misused? I think he can only do so much.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to get cool Samoa Joe now, but I don't really know how, maybe he can try to bring back Aleister Black. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He can't be happy about that one. If he's not happy about Joe, he can't be happy about Aleister Black.
Jorge D. In next week's episode of NXT, they start with the opening of the Diamond Mine. They announce that the owners will open the Diamond Mine themselves, and here they are. To everyone's shock, the owners are going in Raw's own. Stephen Larson explained to us what is the Diamond Mine and who is in it.
It's a Ponzi scheme. It's like Amway, right? Where like, hey, we empower you, and it's just like you enlist 5 people to sell whatever our bunk product is. It's like a diamond. It's like a fake diamond making thing.
Pardon me?
Like a fake diamond making thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've invented something that simulates like thousands, if not millions of years of pressure on a piece of carbon to make a diamond.
It's like a 3D printer, but for diamonds.
That you can do at home. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Transparent aluminum is what it is. Hello,
all right.
computer.
Diamond Mine, that's our pawn shop in the greater Orlando area.
Yeah. This is worth $300. I'll give you $5.
I'll give you $15 for it.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you want to sell it or do you want to pawn it?
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I like the Ponzi scheme better. Oh wow, what a great idea! Jonathan just blew my mind. He says Diamond Mine is the WWE multiverse. That's
where the Marvel stuff kicks off.
Yeah, he's been watching Loki. So a lot of these questions, speed round these. David Matushek says, how would you rate Samoa's performance as Enforcer first day? High. Highest.
Very high.
Jay
S tier.
Singh.
S tier. S tier is top tier, right?
S tier, for sure. Legendary. He says, power rank, who you want to see Joe fight first?
Everyone.
Everybody.
10 Night by Night says, how much time do you have left till you got to address your auction situation over there?
Oh, I was just speed rounding them because there are things that we've kind of addressed, but I don't want to ignore the
I assume that's the case. I was just out of curiosity.
I've got 25 minutes. So
All
we're
right,
good.
very well.
We're good.
Night by night, while at a buffet-style restaurant with a large group of people, you notice one of your friends sneezed directly into the lettuce bin at the salad bar. You had originally intended to get some salad, so you're a bit frustrated to say the least. What NXT superstar do you ask to sneeze on your friend's salad in order to teach him a lesson?
That's horrible. Oh, I would not be that person's friend anymore. Which one of my friends did that? That's terrible.
Wouldn't be me.
I mean, I gave you COVID, so if anybody, be me. But there's a line. I'm not going to joke about that stuff. It's disgusting. Number one, I ain't going to no salad bar. I'm not. I know we're going to Vegas in August. I will be very hesitant. Well, it depends on the buffet, what they got. If it's all glass,
yeah.
Still no. I don't want.
I'm still very picky and choosy about what things I'm going to do, even though I'm vaccinated and whatnot.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not just going to dive in the deep end of the pool.
Right? Yeah.
Like I'm Vegas. I'm starting in the shallow end.
I'm not as worried as you are, but still, buffets. Let's see here. Moses opposes. Who do you want to see answer Kushida's open challenge? He says he'd love to see Nathan Frazier. I agree.
That'd be great. Daniel Bryan's my answer, though.
Ilya.
Organ Grinder. Where do you think they're going with Joe? Are they grooming him to eventually become general manager, or will it be a DeVille Pierce scenario?
I think this is one of those things where he's there as enforcer, and they're going to see where it goes. I don't think they have any plans beyond that. They'll probably see if he gets to wrestle, but I don't know.
White Brownie says WB filed new trademarks for Josh Briggs, Andre Chase, Nikita, Brutus Creed, Julius Creed. Could this be the Diamond Mine?
Nikita?
Yeah. Andre Chase, Josh Briggs.
They're not going to rename Ilya, are they?
No.
Don't act like that's a certainty.
They wouldn't rename him going from NXT UK to NXT. They wouldn't do that.
Well, to NXT, no, you're right. Main roster.
This is the question.
Though.
That's something else entirely, but that's not the nature of the question.
All
the nature of the question is these names, the names in Diamond Mine. That's the question.
Yeah, I get the Brutus. What's that? Brutus Creed.
Brutus Creed.
That's a good name.
Brutus and Julius Creed.
Julia.
Are they already teasing a turn there between Brutus and Julius Creed?
Can we start fantasy booking? Can we do a video fantasy booking Brutus and Julius Creed? Oh man, that's great. That's great. Et tu, Brute Creed?
Yep.
Hey, look at that. Maybe they do have some. Well, yeah, maybe they do have some Shakespearean. They got some Shakespearean stories going on. That's great.
Yeah, this is NXT though. We've seen that before. Gargano Ciampa. You could say that was Shakespearean. I guess you could if you wanted to.
Brutus and Julius. They already teased. That was a good one. That was a joke.
E-Dub says Diamond Mine is like Jeff Jarrett Global Force Gold.
Oh man, Patrick Levis. This is so no Spearmint Rhino in Vegas. Nah, man, no. I'm bringing the wife. Let's see here.
Wandering Man of Thirst with sub 9 months. 9 months.
Wandering Baby of Thirst. Luis.
Question. Sorry, go ahead.
Luis asks, what surprise name would you love to see in NXT? He says for him, it's got to be Jay Lethal.
It's got to be Sid.
For me, it would be
Daniel Bryan.
It would be Glenn Jacobs as Fake Diesel. He comes and starts a feud with Austin Theory. He says there's only one Fake Diesel.
Good. That's good.
And they feud.
Peaceful Boy 17. If anyone in NXT could make a theme song for the next takeover, who could they be? So this must be someone in NXT currently. It's got to be Hit Row.
Hit Row, of course.
Have Hit Row make a takeover theme.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Anyways, I got some comics to win on eBay, so we're gonna cut it at that point. Thanks,
25 minutes.
everybody. Ooh, now it's down to 20 minutes. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tonight, no NXT Dynamite. Booyah!
No NXT Dynamite.
No AEW Dynamite.
Steve's already like his mind is completely and thoroughly on these comics he's trying to win.
This is a very important thing, man. If I get all 3 of these lots. Holy crap, I could turn these comics around. My new comic book Ponzi scheme, very excited about it. My own comic mine, it's very exciting. Anyways, thanks everybody. Talk to you later.
Bye.